It is a pleasure to be joined by the athletic director for San Diego State, Mr. Jim Sterk. Jim, always a pleasure. How have you been?
Great. Thanks for having me on. We had a good day today. Rocky and I and President Weber went down to the city council and presented a game ball from the Poinsettia Bowl to the city and to the mayor, thanking them for all the hard work of basically parting the Red Sea and allowing us to play the Poinsettia Bowl on the 21st. So it was good.
That was a hell of a miracle. I remember. Not just locally, but nationally, they said the queue was underwater. It was like this big disaster.
It was underwater.
24 hours later, it wasn't just gone. It was dry. You know, it was just amazing. Do you look back on that and say that's one of the most unbelievable things you've ever seen?
Oh, I had talked to Bruce Binkowski, the executive director, at the luncheon the day before on the Midway, and he said, yeah, there's part of the field's underwater, and actually the tarp was floating on the field. And then I saw it that night, and I said, there was no way we're playing. And they didn't know until probably 1 or 2 that they had a fighting chance to get the water off. But I went out there 4 hours before game time, and it was not even mushy.
Wow.
It was hard, and it was good. All the water was gone. They painted it. It was a heck of an effort.
Jim, talk about the pride that you feel as an AD. I mean, a guy, when things go wrong, people point to you, look at you, say, he made this hire, he brought this here, it's his philosophy. When things are going right, I have to imagine people are patting you on the back. Talk about how you feel with all the success.
Yeah, obviously a heck of a lot of work has been done and to get to this point, and hiring the coaches, the facilities that are in place, and so all the people that have come before me. But it's a great time to be here and be the AD. I think I came in at a time, I think my goal was to kind of stabilize things. There were some issues that had gone on, and I think make sure that everyone knew we had a great program and encourage them to move forward, and I think they've done that, and they've done a great job. We have obviously some great coaches on staff, some great staff that are working hard to make the Aztecs better, and so it's fun for me as the AD to see all the people that have endured through the years, the 10 or 12 years of losing in football, and to have a year like that, and then to have a guy like Rocky take over that says, hey, this is only the beginning, and we're going to continue and even be better. And so I'm excited about the future, but enjoying the present.
Absolutely. Jim Sterk is here with us, getting ready for the Aztecs game. Before we jump to hoops, just staying with football for a moment, I know you never want to lose a successful coach like Brady Hoke, but I was telling Sherrod, we were watching SportsCenter, we were watching all the ESPN shows, Fox Sports, CBS, going to the websites. Our logo was on display nationally. Was that one of the many advantages, one of the many victories where you said, even though we're losing a coach, folks are talking about this university?
Right, and I think it was because I felt pretty good about our backup plan and with Rocky, and by the time it did happen, I think I was ready for it to happen and excited about it to happen. Both from the standpoint I knew, Brady, that he really desired to be the head coach at Michigan, and that's great. But move on, and we're moving ahead, and I think we've got a guy that can do that and is excited about continuing to build the momentum.
Jim, with success also comes the money, and I mean the money to the actual athletic department. And I know Coach Hope before he left spoke about maybe an upgrade to some practice facilities, training rooms, anything like that. But moving forward, do you have a vision for? And everything looks great to me. I mean, I haven't been inside, but everything looks great as far as the arc and what have you. But do you have a vision for upgrading certain facilities?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we have in the works for the spring and summer. It does. There's been a heck of a lot of improvements over the past decade at the campus here, both athletically and from the university standpoint, and there's going to be continued. The Aztec Center, the Student Center, is going to undergo a $100 million remake, basically starting from scratch, and so that'll be under construction in the next 2 years. Okay. It'll be, I think, the greenest building in the country, and the students are really excited about that. It'll be down for 2 years though, so that there'll be construction, but as far as athletics, I think there's a lot of things we can do to continue to improve, and the practice fields are there. The grass field, we're going to remake that and keep it grass, but a little change of plans, but keep it grass, and then renovate the field next to it that's run its life as far as a artificial surface. We're going to replace that surface over the summer. Peterson Gym, we're replacing the floor in there, and its long need need. Our volleyball coaches are excited about that, and actually basketball uses that practice sometimes, so we're doing that, and just everything that we can, get the support to accomplish. And obviously Ron Fowler stepped forward with a significant gift and a challenge, and so we're continuing to challenge the Aztecs out there to help us move forward. And it's amazing what money can do.
Never a dull day for you, Jim. Jim, it's crazy to think the BYU rivalry will be ending soon, because it's been a nice rivalry, at least for us. I know we enjoy the hate because it's fun. It brings passion to the arenas, ballparks, and stadiums. But I've also heard from you and coaches that there's no desire to schedule BYU on the football schedule. Although I've heard the reasons. Could you just clarify for our listeners why you have no interest of scheduling BYU even as they go independent?
Well, I think they're making the decision to go elsewhere, and play other people. So, then, why should we help them out and schedule them and bring them back here? Obviously, we're going to have some new rivals in the league. I think Fresno will obviously be the biggest one right away in state and in the CSU system. So I think they'll bring it on, not just basketball, football, but everything, all the sports. So I think that'll be good. Our next year, our football schedule, we have TCU, Washington State, Boise. All here, and Fresno State here. So we have 7 home games. That's going to be a first for quite a while, but it's going to be a great home schedule. It'll be a tough home schedule, and then the away games at Army and Michigan, and the conference games away. So I think that's enough. I mean, I don't see we don't need another game in there, and I'm not saying that it'll never happen, because it may be at the right time or whatever. But I know from a football standpoint, there is an advantage of having older kids after they're coming. I knew the coach at Utah, Ron McBride, and he laid it out what happens, and they get them in there for a year, they redshirt them, teach them how to work out in those 2 years and what needs to be done in those 2 years. They go off on a mission, and part of the mission is, they get bigger, stronger, and faster during that time. Yeah. And so then when they come back, then they have 4 years of playing, and so that's an advantage. And I think we signed a kid that's probably going to do that, and I think that's an advantage that they have more regularly at the church school. So I think that's something the football guys, when you get those linemen that are 24 as opposed to 19 or 20, and
I get that.
Especially on the line.
Sure.
I think the skill positions, it doesn't make as big an impact.
Jim, do you find yourself having to, maybe not with people within the conference, because obviously everybody knows about it within the conference, but when you talk to other ADs nationally or media people nationally, do you have to kind of, quote-unquote, politic for state as far as getting the notoriety? We just spoke to Coach Fisher. He's never won Conference Coach of the Year. Do you still have to kind of say, hey, look at what we're doing?
Yeah, I think we need to do that, both from an athletic and an academic standpoint. When you tell people that 62,000 kids tried to get into San Diego State last year and there were 4,000 spots, sure. It's competitive to be here, and I think the level, the elevation of the institution, both academically and athletically, it's a good time for us. We have to take advantage of that and really make sure that it does reposition San Diego State for the future.
Jim, we're going to become embedded journalists today and join the show. I've got a wig. Sherrod has a caveman costume.
That's right.
Of all the student sections you've seen, before you go, and we're looking at these guys line up, it's only 4:30.
We got tip-offs out here already and everything. Oh, my goodness.
You've seen a lot of arenas throughout the years, but would you say this is one of the greatest student sections you've ever seen?
They are a great group, and it is one of the best that I've ever seen. And I've been to Duke and seen that atmosphere, and it's a little bit smaller than this and less students. We have probably the biggest and loudest and creative group of students that you can have, and I think it really, really helps energize not only the players but the entire us old farts get up a little bit more.
It's true, it's contagious.
It is contagious, and it's fun for people. I think it brings them back, and that's what collegiate sports are all about. And I think what differentiates us from the pros. And you're around college students, and they're having fun, and they're growing, and making mistakes, and doing stupid stuff, and we just need to control it and keep it at a minimum. And they do a great job of doing it in the right way, and not being offensive, and they're very creative and positive, I think.
Yeah, use the right word, creative.
Yeah, they
it's not
are
just
that.
a bunch of kids wearing the same shirt, saying the
Right,
same thing.
right,
It's just
right.
random and crazy and perfect. Jim, it's great right now to be an Aztec fan. Thank you so much for joining the show. We will certainly be talking to you soon.
All right, it's great to listen to you guys too.
Thank you
Thanks
so
a lot,
much.
Jim.
There he
Thanks
is, Jim Sterk, getting ready for Utah tonight.